Alright, howdy folks. This is Farmer Devin, Cackleberry Farm and Garden. I just wanted to do a quick video on our pasture pen design. We started this business back in 2016 and we started with pasture raised chickens. Originally we were using the base of this here Salatin pen, and I do believe it was actually 2 foot tall on the sides. However, at that time, instead of having the flat roof and all the extra material, what we used was 2 cattle panels looped over the top with some tarp, and it functioned okay. It had no significant issues with the wind due to the arch, but it did have issues with predators. That was when we were way out in Antelope Hills, which is about 10 miles that way, and had some dogs get into it and kill a few birds, but we didn't have a whole lot of birds at the time, so that's probably our oldest pen. It's got the longest history. Of course, given the name, you can guess where I got the design from, and that is Joel Salatin of Polyface Farms over in Virginia. Big problems with it. First off, we're not in Virginia, so we don't have Virginia pastures. This is probably some of the smoothest ground that you're seeing right here, but typically what we're dealing with when we're talking about pastures here in Wyoming, you can see a little bit of crested wheatgrass right there, so that's a clump grass. Most of our pastures are comprised largely of that, especially where we were running chickens and all that in previous years. And where there's not clump grass, what you'll usually find is things like yucca and cactus, and it's just really difficult to move this 10-foot wide pen across all that. What you get is you get a couple feet and then it'll jam up on one of those clumps, and it hurts your back a little bit, and then you got to come over to the back side here, and you got to stick a stick underneath it on top of the clump and then pull it over that clump. And what takes Joel Salatin 30 seconds to move, this takes us like 30 minutes. It's a significant problem. Some of the other issues that we have with it, the overall weight, it's just kind of heavy. Again, we're not on slick grass, so it just doesn't move as well as we like, so it's a lot of weight to move and drag. And then you can see that lid there on the ground. That's on the ground from when we harvested ducks and pulled them out of here, but we did have a lot of wind issues. The wind would pick that lid up and just throw it way off into the pasture, as far away as an acre away, and then we have to pick that up, put it back on there, and that is, even with weight on it, such as 4x4s and sticks and all that good stuff. So it's just not a very well designed pen for our area. It did work, 2 foot tall is plenty tall for the birds. It's kind of a little short for us when we get to harvesting, because I'm having to maneuver around all of this bracing that you see in there, and the dogs have to maneuver around that as well, since we're using to herd the ducks out. You can see the feeders and waters I got to clean up. So other renditions, we've done Siskovich pens in the past. Last year was the first time we did Siskovich pens. I knew better, but I was trying it because I figured they'd be lightweight enough for the wife. And we started down there near those 3 posts. And by the time those pens were actually about here where these pallets are, the wind had come up. That was July 3rd. My previous videos, you might have heard me talking about the wind blowing out the window on the house. That same windstorm picked both of those Siskovich pens up, threw them about 50 yards back, flipping them and then disintegrating them, and the pieces and parts were all found anywhere from 100 to 250 yards away because of that wind. So it was just, not a good pen design for our area either. This here pen is one that I designed one year when I didn't have money for materials, so it was all made with pallet wood, and that's why I have 4-foot sides, and decided to do the octagon because it gave me decent pen size and capacity compared to what a 4x4 square would be. I found that the octagon shape, one, helps to reduce the wind issue, and then it also helps us to navigate around a lot of the clump grass because of these angled edges. If you have anything wider than 4 feet between a couple of yuccas or big clumps of grass, then it helps to kind of maneuver that clump either down, or it gets the pen up and over it a little bit better. So that has helped quite a bit. One thing I do like about this pen is the overhangs I built on it. When we have guard geese, it's kind of nice to be able to hang waters and feeders off of. But otherwise, it's really not a very good pen. 2 foot high, just like the Salatin pen, and then these braces just get in the way when you're in there trying to work or do anything. Access kind of sucks. You can see I kind of cut the chicken wire this year, so I had access to waters. But basically, you have these tiny little squares to get in and out of, and it's just not very convenient. So this year's rendition on a Pasture pen, thus far I like it, and I think we might be sticking with it. So this is just another octagon, 4 foot sides again. And then one of the key differences here is the ground is still 2x4, just like on the other one, but everything else is 2x2. So a lot lighter material all the way around. And then for the roof, instead of going flat, I did a reciprocal frame roof. So if you ignore this little member here, everything else is just about a 5 or 6 foot piece, runs to the center, and sits on top of the one next to it. Okay, so that's sitting on top of that one, 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 and sitting on top of this one. That sits on top of the original, right? So every member is supported by the next one. It's a self-supporting structure, basically. And that allows this pen to be open on the inside, so there is no cross members or braces in here, and you have full access to the entire pen. It's got enough height in it that I can actually crawl around in here very comfortably. I can sit up in it. My kid can stand in it. And then just like our other octagon pen, I do have some gaps designed between the roof and the walls. And since we use these pens in the summer when there's a lot of heat here in Wyoming, some of you down south are laughing out loud at me right now, but for us this is hot, right? I mean, so that allows some more airflow basically to flow up the sides of these roof panels and out through the center, evacuates the heat a little more effectively, and basically that yields a lightweight pen that stays a little cooler and is very easy to work with, easy to move, easy to get in and out of. And I think it's probably a good design. I mean, we'll see how it holds up in coming years, you know. 1 year is just not enough to really test a design, but I'm happy with it so far, and I think we'll be using it for many years to come, planning to create a few more before next year. There's a neighbor. All right, have a good one.